Yeah, if you guys can see the wheel, see how it's turning hard to the left? That was what he was talking about. He's like, man, this thing really goes hard to the left. That must be the only brakes that it has. And it's like, no, it's not. It's just, this is a drum brake car. Look at that. Holy crap, the ridges in this thing. How you doing, honey?
They kept going up my nose.
Yep. All right, we're just going straight. Go ahead and grab this. You'll feel how bad this is.
I don't want it.
Ready?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so we're just going gently around the block. Yeah, this is bad. So did you enjoy it? Wasn't too bad.
No, the brakes still work.
Yeah, because like I say, when I was like grab onto the wheel and all of a sudden I hit the brake, you could feel it just go this way. Yeah, that's dangerous. That is
very dangerous.
That is very dangerous. We will take care of his mama. She'll be driving in style. Styling and profiling. Ooh, yeah. We got ourselves this nice little convertible 289 two-barrel 68 Mustang. We are putting on a lead brake, power disc brake kit on this thing. And we've already installed a power steering setup on this thing. If you guys haven't checked it out and you're interested, go check that out. What's going on is, I'm calling this Sally. Mustang Sally. Mustang Sally. We're gonna have fun with this thing for damn sure. We got to upgrade this thing because cars of this era, you know, cruising down the freeway, you're doing 55, maybe 60 miles an hour, and that was cruising along. Nowadays, you're doing 80, 85 if you're going down the frickin' highway nowadays, which is absolutely ridiculous. But you can't do that with the drum brakes and manual steering of the past. So we got it up in the air. I've already pulled this side of the drum off, which is pretty straightforward. If you guys don't know, you're gonna pull your center nut off, and then the whole drum assembly is gonna come right off with it, and you're gonna be at the point that I'm at right now. Look at that. Holy crap, the ridges in this thing. No wonder why this thing was frickin' dive bombing to the left. Ugh, that is horrible. Absolutely horrible, unacceptable. This lower spring ended up snapping, which is what holds your shoes on your drum setup. Well, if that snaps, the shoes are already out. So the moment you hit the brakes, it just instantly pulls these out. This is gonna grip before anything else. That's why she was dive bombing so bad. You see, little things like this, and this is just the beginning of it. But these are supposed to be pretty much like a self-locking bolt. They flatten themselves in right against here, and then this lip doesn't allow it to turn. Well, guess what? You get some old raggedy, rusty stuff like this, well, these start to turn. So you got to get a pair of vice grips in there and try to wedge them in there, see if you can get this to work, see if it doesn't move. Try to do your best. And then fight with the rust. People wonder why it takes so long to do a freaking brake job. Well, when you have stuff like this that probably hasn't been taken apart, that backing plate, I'll bet you money, has not come off this car probably since 1968. This is all part of the fun, my friends. This is all part of the fun. Before you even pack your bearings, do this first. Make sure your bearings, cucaracha, hey. Make sure your bearings fit your spindles because there's so many different variations in this and different variations in bearings that we want to make sure that they're going to slide on. That one slides on pretty good. We're all ready to rock and roll. That slides on good. This right here is good stuff right there. If all of a sudden you put this on and it's like it doesn't fit, you need a different bearing. Why waste your time packing these things? Or possibly you need to look at the kit and make sure you got the right kit, because this could be a red flag telling you you got the wrong kit because there's different variations within spindles. So I'm all good. I'm gonna pack these bearings up and then we're gonna get the rotors out. So I'm pulling the rotor out of this thing and they got these itty bitty little pieces of wood on top, these itty bitty little guys. And I don't know about you, but I remember back in the day for my Taekwondo and my kickboxing classes where you'd have to break the wood to get to your next belt. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yosh, young grasshopper, today is your final test. Today you will perform a spin kick. early and become master of mechanic door.
There's just so much pressure. Oh, I want my black belt so bad. Oh, I don't know if I can hit that little dot or not. Oh man. Okay, I have to center my mechanic dough. Oh, here we go. Okay. Oh, B1. Oh, here we go. Okay. Oh. 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 Oh, gosh.
Ah, very good. You are now a master of mechanic door, a training.
Look at that. Oh yeah. Now we got ourselves a 4-piston caliper setup. This thing is going to stop on a dime. Make sure your bleeder screws are going to the top. It's pretty obvious, but I got to state the fact. And at that point, this section is done. Now, I'm going to go to the other side, but I'm not going to record it because all you're going to do is repeat the same process I just did over here. Does this power brake kit work with 14-inch wheels? 4-piston calipers work on a 14-inch wheel? Oh, you darn tootin' it fits. We have no problem fitting. As you can see, I would say there's at least 3/8 of an inch safely going around there. We have to break these lines loose off the original master cylinder. So we're gonna break these lines loose. Also, off the proportioning valve, that little booger right there, off the proportioning valve, we're gonna disconnect the rear setup, but we're still gonna use this proportioning valve for the front. So some of these lines we're still gonna keep. What we're gonna do is, this adjustable proportioning valve will now control how much braking we get into the ass end, into the rear drums of this combination. So now what's gonna happen is, we're gonna end up going into here for the front, into the proportioning valve. Then we're going to use the rear, go into here, and then out of this, we'll be going down to the rear brake setups. This is going to be the new proportioning valve for the back end of the car. So I hope that makes sense. Let's get into this one. Well, I crawled my big old butt underneath this dashboard and started taking pieces out. And as you can see, there's the steering column. There's all the steering pieces. There is your under the dash bracket that holds your brake pedal in. There's all my brake pedal assembly. Yeah. So now that I already had the power steering done on this car, I had to pull all this out to be able to get that sucker out of the car. Why, do you ask? Well, your car might not be equipped with what this is equipped with. And I wish I had what you had if you don't have this. Let me explain. This right here is where your manual brakes were going to go, or do go. You have to have a hole somewhere in this general area for your power brakes. What it claims in the instructions, there's your manual, there's your power. And it even says, just move it up to, through here, move it up to that hole. Well, guess what? This car isn't equipped with that. And digging through just digging through the internet and finding out that some do have them, some don't have them. Well, guess what? We ended up winning the lottery ticket and it doesn't have it. So you have to pull out your steering column, pull this sucker out from underneath the dash. Oh my God. Oh. I'm too big for crawling underneath a tiny little Mustang dashboard. So now, here's the fun part. I have to figure out exactly where that hole belongs. I'm gonna let you guys know here in a second, but I have to stop, go on to the good old interweb and start figuring out where that hole needs to belong, because it doesn't tell you in the instructions. So I got to figure that portion of it out. I'll let you know here in the next 3, 2, this is the joy of YouTube, 1. I came back out here and I started looking at everything and it just hit me. I was like, wait a minute, it's all right here, right in front of you. These are the 3 basic things that as soon as I saw it, I went, It's right here. So there's the setup. There's the hole. There's what I needed. There's the mocked up booster and all of that. So let me tell you how I got to here, and we'll come back to this section and I'll explain this. So how did I figure this out? I'm going to show you guys on the original manual setup. Now, this is what first hit me. This hole here to where this manual setup would actually be, this is the push rod for your master cylinder. Well, think about it. Ford is going to keep this thing moving in a straight line, east to west. It is not going to be loading itself like this because that would be bad against the brakes. So knowing, okay, once this moves in a perfectly straight line, they know where this hole is going to be. Okay, well, here's the thing. That's already figured out on the new pedal. The new pedal has the exact same thing. It's in a different location, but it's in the same thing. So then what do? Okay. What we do is we make sure that the push rod is moving in that perfect straight line. Once you know that that push rod should be moving in that straight line, then you're going to start to get an idea of where that hole needs to be. Also, the fact that this is not adjustable, that push rod is not adjustable like some other push rods. So then it locks you into play right there. Okay, that's another good thing. Looking at the instructions for this kit also gives you a diagram or a picture, if you will, of this setup with the power steering, with the power brake hole already in it. Some kits have them, some kits don't. So it gives you an idea of kind of sort of where it should be. All right, that's all you really need. This is where I came up with it. So at that point, knowing that this has to move in a perfect straight line, which you can see, we're moving in a perfect straight line. At that point, it's going to lock me in here because it's non-adjustable, and I want to make sure nothing's binding up. Then at that point, we're going to set ourselves right up in here. So I'm going to take this, put it in here, lock it down, make sure I'm not binding against this. Once it's good, then I take this, I make sure everything's level, I clamp it, and then at that point, I just drilled a small hole, went through it. I actually put a little 1/4-inch bolt in there just to make sure I was close enough here. If not, I was going to take like a porting bit and make the hole exactly what I wanted, but I was pretty damn close. So now at that point, this is in, locked and loaded. I got my hole where it needs to be, and everything now is moving perfectly straight. There's no binding, there's no nothing. That's all done. So real quick, maybe this is not your exact thing that you want to do. What do I mean by that? A vintage 1968 Mustang. It's like, hey, it's cool. But you know what? I'd rather do a Coyote swap. I'd rather do a twin turbo 555 cubic inch big block Ford in it. I'd want to do this. I'd want to do that. I can flat out tell you, take 5 seconds, go over to the Muscle Car Custom Garage channel, hit the videos, scan through the library, and my friends, you will see all kinds of cool stuff in there. Besides just the stock style Mustangs and Chevelles and Novas and Camaros, guys, you want to see some drag and drive stuff? You want to see some just raising hell on the street? Maybe you want to see some dyno stuff. Hey, wouldn't it be cool to see some 800 horse blown engines, or maybe even 1100 horse or 1800 horsepower? And man, wouldn't it be cool to see it through somebody who's actually, we all know and trust, like, I don't know, a Steve Morris? Well, guess what? Got all that stuff out there in the library. All you got to do is go over to it, check it out. There's a lot more to Muscle Car Custom Garage than just this vintage stuff. Take that little bit of time, go check out the library. And when you're there, hey, if you see some things that you like, share them out to your friends. Share them to your grandma. I don't care. Share them to the dog. It helps us grow. It helps the channel out. And the more you view, helps us grow, and it helps the channel out. It's a win-win. You guys get to see some cool stuff that's more what you want to see, and we get you guys in the family of Muscle Car Custom Garage. I just wanted to say thank you for that. Go check it out, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. And there is that bracket reinstalled. Now what I did was, because everything got drilled out, these holes got drilled out, there's nothing to bolt to. So the sheet metal screws that are there, and I got one over in the corner right up there, since those are in, that's what's holding it. So that's gonna help hold that secure. So when I put the template on the other side, I think I have like one hole basically I have to drill through, and then I have to increase the size of the hole for the actual master cylinder at that point. You notice the power steering, or the steering column, is still, it's out of the car. I'm keeping it out of the car because if I have to make any modifications or anything like that has to be done on the car, then I'd rather have that thing out of the car, even though I've already done all the steering. The steering column isn't too crazy. And to put it back in, that'll just be the last thing. I want to make sure the brakes are right. Next thing up is lay out the template, get that going, get the booster in, put the pedal in. Let's keep rocking and rolling. So now the booster's in the car. I got that locked down. But when I was doing this, I noticed this with the proportioning valve, and I thought, I want to finish this section of the proportioning valve first. What am I talking about? All right, there's the adjustable proportioning valve. We're coming out of the rear. That's your front, going from the master cylinder. That's the rear. This is the driver's side, and then this little guy down here is the passenger side. I'm coming out of the rear, and this is the proportioning valve that's now going to the rear. What I did was I took this to increase, decrease. I pulled it all the way out, so it's decreased maximum. Now also, this has to be in an area that's easy to access once you put on the master cylinder. Master cylinder is going to come to about here, so you guys will see it later on. You can get to this pretty good. Before we bench bleed, double check your pre-bent lines that come in the kit. As you can see, these aren't even close to fitting. I'm going to have to bend this guy, and then this one over here, as you can tell as well, is not even close. We're going to want to do that before we bench bleed it, because the last thing that we want to do is have all the fluid in it, and you're fighting with stuff and you're jiggling things around and you're pissing brake fluid everywhere. We don't want to do that. So reinstall it, do it dry, get your lines to fit the way that you want them to fit. Then at that point, we're going to go into bench bleeding. So I am going to go through and finish up making these lines fit a little bit better. Figured I'd give you that kind of a tip and trick right there, because later on it will bite you in the butt and you'll go, oh man, I wish I would have done this instead of this. I'm just trying to save you a little bit of a messy time. I'm just going to use a long screwdriver. That is it. That's all you really need. And you're just going to put a little bit of body weight into it, and you're just going to push through. Now, here is the important part, because if not, you're going to be chasing your freaking tail here. Don't sit and pump this in and out really fast, okay? I hope that makes sense. We do not want to sit there and pump this thing in and out really, really fast. What'll happen is you'll start to basically not foam this, but you'll get a lot of little tiny bubbles. And because you're going so quick, it'll just stay doing it. And you'll see it in these lines. Right now you can see a couple little air bubbles in here, but it'll be within the lines. And there is a thought of, holy crap, it's got so much air in it and all that. You're creating it. So what you want to do is you want to just slow, steady strokes. We do not want to go fast. Just all the way in until you feel it bottom out, and then just let it come back nice and easy. All the way in. We're not 13, 14 years old and just learned our new favorite hobby in life where we're going to go as fast as we freaking can. No, we want slow, steady strokes, not fast, foamy strokes. Ooh, that just didn't sound right. So let's get a little bit closer view on this, and I'll show you what I mean. You can see what I mean. I'm not going fast. If you're also noticing, levels are dropping. So make sure you got plenty of brake fluid in there, because you're filling everything up. You're filling up the piston. You're filling all the stuff up. Make sure your lines are good. Everything's okay. And we're just going nice and easy. Now you can see some bubbles inside the lines where it's, oh yeah, it almost looks like it's totally good. See where they're starting to come through? And you can see I'm not pushing super hard. Now I'm just getting little bubbles. Now if I sit here and I start pumping really quick and hard, we're gonna start if I start doing this, see how I get all this foamy bubble shit inside here? That's going to be very, very misleading. Plus the fact that I'm not going all the way in and I'm letting it come back. You'll start just kind of doing these half pumps. We don't want that. We want full strokes all the way in and out, nice, slow, and steady. Keep your mind clean. Come on now, you guys. Oh, we a bunch of children here. I know I am. And this is it. It's just going back and forth. And I can see I'm really not getting bubbles out of here. I'm trying to clean up this stuff, and that's the pain in the butt part. Now that I showed you and demonstrated it, now I'm getting all these little micro bubbles out of here. So once I push it all the way down, I let it settle, they'll all collect. And once they collect, I let them come back, and then it starts to become more solid bubbles. And then you kind of let them collect again. Notice how it was this big, now it's closing up to this big. That's how you have to chase those little foamy bubbles. And that is what I'm trying to show you and prevent you from having to do, because then you got to sit there and wait for them all to collect. And then you burp that little bit out, and then it gets a little smaller, a little smaller. It's a pain in the ass. Slow, steady strokes, I know I've said it 100 times, that right there is going to get it done to where you can then just move on to this portion right here. So we are done. We are ready to bleed the brakes. That's right, we are ready to bleed these brakes. That right there, my friend, was the absolute least exciting thing that I got to do. I knew crawling underneath that thing was gonna be a pain in my lower back, and besides a pain in the butt here. And it just, I'm not built for that little footwell. So as I'm working in there, it's like, I'm trying to do my best. And it just wasn't working very well. That took forever, and especially trying to, blah. So you guys have fun with that. If you're a little bit less broad and not so meaty, yeah, not so pumped up and so muscular, yeah, maybe a little guy, maybe for you it's gonna be a little easier, but that took me a little bit of effort to get in there. But it's done. It's done. So now, bleeding the brakes, I will say this. I'm just gonna give you guys a couple of little tips here. Now you can go through and you can get the bleed it yourself brake kit where it seals off the master cylinder, or it hooks onto your bleeder screw and you just sit and pump it and it bleeds it out that way. There's so many different versions, and I will say I like the old-fashioned way. Throw somebody in the car, give me maybe 3 pumps, 1, 2, and on number 3, try to put your foot right through the floor, and then hold it there, crack the thing, bleed it, and just do it the old-fashioned way. To me, that's the best way of doing it, and that's how I am gonna do it. Now, with that being said, start at your farthest point from the master cylinder. So you're gonna go passenger, driver, passenger, driver. What do I mean? Back corner, passenger, driver, and then passenger, driver. That's gonna be where the most air is. Now, guys, this is crucial on this portion of it, okay? Make sure your master cylinder is full of fluid, okay? Now, I know that one pretty much is like, well, yeah, Scott, it's pretty simple to figure that one out, you know. Master cylinder has to have fluid in it because that's how the brakes work. Well, guess what? You know how many times people forget to do that? They'll go through, they'll start bleeding the system, and they'll just forget about it. They're in that thing of just, I'm gonna crack the valve, I'm gonna do my thing, and oh, look at the butterfly. That's what happens too much. If you end up draining that thing dry, guess what you get to do? That's right, you get to take everything off. You get to bench bleed that sucker all over again. And the lines have to come off. You have to be able to take the master cylinder off to bench bleed it. So at that point, All the bleeding that you did, say you made it through and you're on the last one and you forgot to do it, you get to do it all over again. Why? You just introduced air into it. You popped your lines off, which are slowly gonna just lower down. You're adding air back into the system. You get to do it all over again. Yeah. My tip and trick for you guys is after about, let's say the third or fourth time of opening and closing everything and getting it through, if it's just air, you're slowly bringing the level down. Well, guess what? That means it has to transfer through the line, so that level is gonna lower as it transfers through. If you have air in there, it's gonna be a bunch of fluid coming out, and then it might like and spurt out. Well, you're still losing fluid that way. So about every 3 or 4 times, go up and go check it, and get an idea of how much you're losing and how fast you're losing it. Then you'll start to go, hey, you know what? It's been the 4th or 5th time. Now we got to check it. Or, wow, it really goes fast. We got to check it maybe every 2 or 3. Double check it. Don't let that sucker go dry. Carpet is all ripped out, fully gutted, ready to rock and roll. Got the seat put back in with a couple of screws in it. Steering wheel's just kind of half-assed, kind of settling in there. We are ready to bleed the brakes, and I got my partner in crime somewhere. Oh, partner. You ready to do some work and bleed some brakes?
Sure.
All right. What's gonna work?
Really?
Really doesn't work.
No.
Teamwork. That's what's gonna work.
Okay.
You ready, honey?
Yep.
Okay. You're gonna do 3 pumps, like boom, boom, and on the 3rd one, you're gonna try to push it down hard, like a panic stop hard, and keep your foot down. All right, up. All right, back up. What I wanted to do on this side was get a little bit of the brown, nasty, old brake fluid out of this side. Had a little bit of bubbles in it, but then it started to, pretty much it was fine after about number 2, but it was just dark, nasty, almost looked like coffee coming out of it. Now it's at least a little bit more of a gold. All right, so now that we've done that wheel, what are we gonna do? Check the master cylinder, that's right. As you can see, ready to go here. Got my vacuum line hooked up, back of the carburetor. Biff, bam, boom, here we go. So I am only gonna go back and forth in the driveway here because with this brake light switch, the manual switch, this spring inside here is way, way stiffer than what it would be for a power brake one. You have to switch this around, and this did not come in the kit, so there's no brake lights on this thing. So obviously, with that being said, I'm just gonna go back and forth in the driveway here. It'll be enough to tell me if the brakes are way better than what they were. We'll know that for sure. All right, here we go. They're touchy. All right. Let's just go back and forth here. Yeah. One of the things I'm noticing is when I hit the brakes, they're good, they're solid. They stop really, really well. They feel way better than what it was before, night and day difference. But I just got to keep going through and just fine tuning it. The nice thing with being on dirt like this is I'll hear the backs brake, I'll hear the backs lock up before anything else. And on dirt, it's going to be really, really loose. So I'm just getting it to the point where maybe I'll hear it just kind of catch before the fronts do, and then I'm gonna back it off about a half turn, then we're all set. So the mechanical portion of this is a nice clean bill of health for the brakes, for the steering. As you guys saw, everything worked good. I did have the customer come over. He ended up driving this thing in the driveway, couldn't do it out on the road because we didn't have the brake light switch in it. That'll be coming in once we start getting this interior put together. But I did find this. Once the customer was driving it, it sat, and all of a sudden he's getting ready to leave, and that right there, what is it? Heater core. So yep, that is the heater core. So I have to put a heater core in this before I do what's gonna be the next video, is finishing up the interior, new steering wheel, new carpet, the boot for the convertible top. We're gonna do a heater core in this thing. Guys, I wouldn't say neglect, but this thing has definitely been sitting way too long. And it's about time that it actually gets the TLC that it needs. So we'll be taking care of all of that in the next upcoming video. And hopefully at that point, we can give it to the customer. You can see him, meet him, and hopefully he is absolutely happy and ready to go bring this thing back to his mom so she can drive it and enjoy it as well. I know you're looking over my shoulder right now and going, hey man, what in God's green earth is that back there? That's a 1967 fastback Mustang. Is that a tilt front end? Yes, that's a tilt front end as well. Well, tell us about the car. I'm not gonna. Wanna know why? You're gonna have to hit that subscribe button to be able to see some upcoming videos on what are we doing with the 67 fastback. Well, that'll be going on after the 68 convertible. I know, I'm so mean, I'm so terrible. Oh, I know. But my friends, like always, I'm so glad you guys checked out the channel. I'm thankful you guys are checking out more stuff and going back into the library and looking at some engines or some drag racing or some of the other crazy stuff that happens here at Muscle Car Custom Garage. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart. Keep checking out some more videos. It helps out the channel. And share, share, share. That helps us grow. Till we meet again, my friends. Woo! Catch you on the flip side.